Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video in our OpenGL C++ tutorial series. Today we're going to be installing all the packages that we need to build an OpenGL application. But before that, I'll explain a bit what OpenGL is. So OpenGL is a library that allows us to communicate with the GPU or the integrated graphics card in the computer through C++ code. So it is cross-platform, so it can be run on Mac, Windows. All that you need is the libraries which are included in each operating system, making it a cross-platform and a very powerful and optimal choice when creating graphic or applications that require graphics. I think Minecraft, along with other games, use OpenGL for their graphics, hence why it's cross-platform. So we will be following, in this tutorial series, we'll be going through learnopengl.com. We'll be walking through creating windows, all that stuff, and then possibly getting to more advanced OpenGL techniques. But today we need to download the two libraries which we'll need for this series, which are just GLFW and GLAD. So I am going through, I did create a condensed version of this process in a markdown file that is on GitHub. I will put this link on in the details. So first thing you want to do is open up your code blocks or your Visual Studio IDE and go and create a new project. Go ahead and do an empty project because we're not doing any templates. Go next, and then just go ahead and name it. So I'm going to name mine OpenGL tutorial, and I'm going to go ahead and create. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is we want to create a folder in our project directory called source, and then in there create a file called main.cpp. So the first thing I do with all of my C++ projects, or any of my computer science projects, and for that matter, is I just make it print out hello world. So the way to do that is just include iostream and then int main std cout, and then I'm going to return 0. If you don't know what this means, I would recommend getting a lot of C++ knowledge before this, because there are some advanced topics such as pointers, classes, a lot of stuff that you will need to know in order to effectively create an OpenGL application. So we can go ahead, make sure you're running it in x64, and then just click run. So it'll say that hello world, that's what you should get, and then get that out of the way. Now we can get to downloading the actual packages. So OpenGL, like I said, is included in every operating system, so we can just go ahead and actually tell the compiler to look for it without having to download anything. So in your properties window, I'm going to show how to do it for Visual Studio. I'm not sure about code blocks or any other IDE. There are probably tutorials on how to do it elsewhere, but it should be pretty similar. All right. So in your property pages, go to linker, input. Make sure your platform is set to x64, so you don't just type in a bunch of settings and then lose them, because we were on x86. I may or may not have just done that, but we'll save that for later. But in additional dependencies, just type in OpenGL32.lib and then put a semicolon and then click apply and OK for now. Alright, now in your solution directory, which I have over here, go ahead and create a new folder called linking, and then in that create two folders, one called include and another called lib. And then in your Visual Studio project, go to properties, go to VC++ directories or Visual C++ directories, go to include directories, and add this entry. So $, and then in parentheses solution dir, and then \linking \include, and then semicolon. So this is a macro, just gives the directory the solution, so we don't have to type out the whole thing. And also, if I send this project, if someone downloads this from GitHub, they won't have to retype in the projects. It'll automatically give the current solution directory. And then we'll do something similar in library directories in the same page. Do $, and then in parentheses solution dir /linking /lib, and then semicolon, and then click apply. Okay, and then we can build that just to make sure everything works, and it succeeded. Okay, so now we can get to downloading GLFW in GLAD. Alright, so on GLFW, download the 64-bit Windows binaries, or Mac if you're developing on Mac. So go into your solution directory, get the zip file, drag it into the linking folder, and extract it there. So that'll give us this folder. Drag the include folder back to the linking. So the one in the GLFW folder, and that's a binary folder, just drag it out to the linking folder, and that'll put all the GLFW header files in here in this include folder. So what we can do now is in our code, we can just test to make sure that the compiler sees it, and say #include, and then in the brackets say GLFW / and you get all the files there. So you can do that for now, and it's alright. That's fine. So that means that it found it, which is all good. Alright, so now we want to get the library folders as well. So go back to the GLFW, find your version of compiler. I'm using Visual Studio 2019. So I'm going to take the two lib files, not the DLL, and I'm going to copy them, and then in linking, go to lib, create a new folder called GLFW, and then paste the two library files in there. And then next, take that DLL file, that other file that was in that same folder, and go into your project directory and just paste it in there. So it should be along with your source. And that should be all good for the GLFW. So you can go ahead and delete that, the GLFW stuff. So that's what that should look like for now. And next, we're going to do the GLAD package. So GLAD is just an extension that allows us to keep up to date with OpenGL versions. It's essentially a manager for our OpenGL code, so we don't have to retrieve information every time we want to instantiate an object or something like that. So in GLAD, this link will be on this walkthrough and in the details. So make sure language is C/C++. Specification is OpenGL. And then API do GL version 3.3. And then in options, the only thing you need to make sure is that just make sure that generate a loader is checked off, and then click generate. And then click the glad.zip file. This will download it, and we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So drag that zip file into your linking, extract it here. So in the glad.zip file, there is an include directory. So that extracted these two directories into here. So the glad and KHR into the include directory. And then in the source directory, you want to take that .c file, copy it, go to your project directory, source, and paste it alongside your main.cpp folder, or main.cpp file. And then you can delete the glad.zip file and all that good stuff there. Alright, so once we have this, we can hit a quick reload, include the glad.c file in your project, so make sure it's included, and we should have, alright, so it's not giving us any errors, so that's all good. And then the last thing we need to do is include that the lib files that we added. So in OpenGL tutorial, go to your properties, go to your linker, input, and you're going to add this entry, so glfw /glfw3.lib. So this is the lib file that we added from the glfw package, so click apply, okay, and then build everything, and it succeeded, so it's all good. So that is essentially it for now. Let's just review what our project should look like. So in your solution, you should have a linking and a project directory. So in your linking, you should have include and lib, and in include, you should have glad, glfw, and khr, which have their respective header files. And then in the lib file, you should just have a glfw and then glfw3.lib and glfw.dll.lib there, or glfw3.dll.lib. And then in your project directory, you should have the glfw3.dll file alongside a source file that has main.cpp and glad.c. So yeah, that is essentially it. That's all I have for you guys today. In the next video, which will probably come out later today, we'll be creating our first window with OpenGL, and that'll be pretty exciting. And yeah, so I'll see you guys then.